So the Indiana Fever can't afford to pay Aliyah Boston. Yeah, and that is assuming Maisha Hines-Allen's on the minimum, which she's not going to be. My guess is that Maisha Hines-Allen, she has to be a little bit over the minimum. She's not going to be a crazy amount over the minimum, but she has to be a little bit over the minimum. But yeah, that is not the most ideal situation in the world, to be honest. And if you guys agree it's a little bit crazy, subscribe. We are trying to gain a subscriber today. We've gained 2 subscribers today. We were at 58,720 when I went to sleep yesterday, so we're down 4 since I went to sleep. But yeah, if we could gain a subscriber, that would be great. And lads, in the next 2 or 3 days, hopefully my lip will have fully healed and I will be able to take the mic out of my face. It will be great. I'll bring back my, proper stand to keep the mic out of the face. Either way, we got to talk about this. The Indiana Fever salaries, they have a 1.289 million in cap space. And do you know what this basically means? That the Indiana Fever, based on bringing back Lexi Hull, based on bringing back Sophie, based on bringing in Monique Billings, they're effectively... So let's just say hypothetically, you've got the Liberty. So the Liberty, they bring in Pauline Astier, who is their backup point guard. Or let's go back up. Because one of Sophie Cunningham or Lexi Hull are going to have to be a backup small forward. Let's say they have, if you're New York Liberty, you have Phoebish. He was your starting small forward. You then have your backup small forward, Rebecca Gardner. And then after the two of them, you have your starting power forward in Stewie. So that is a significantly better 3 than Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and Monique Billings. Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and Monique Billings combined are going to cost about 2.1 million. Leo Phoebish, Rebecca Gardner, and Breanna Steward combined are going to cost probably 1.6 million. Like, there is a big gap. There's a big gap in that. And the fact Monique Billings and Lexi Hull are there for another year means the Indiana Fever, even without paying Caitlin Clark, her early Epic provision, they can't afford Kelsey Mitchell. Like, for people wondering why they didn't make a big trade they didn't make a splash by signing Kelsey and Sophie to multi-year deals. If Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham signed to multi-year deals, they would struggle to afford Caitlin Clark on a rookie scale deal. And let's just say hypothetically, they signed Caitlin, Lexi, they signed everyone to 3-year deals. They, in fact, would not be able to pay Caitlin Clark at all. And that's the problem with the power forward market. And this is the big problem with what I said. What I said a year ago. That the Indiana Fever they nearly made the finals, so all's forgiven. But had the Atlanta Dream not forgot how to play basketball and left Aliyah Boston wide open under the basket for game, the Indiana Fever shit themselves. They fucked up a play to win the game. And for some reason, the Atlanta Dream decided to run 2 players, or I can't remember who it was. Was it Naz Hillman or Bree Jones decided to guard the free throw line and leave what's her name? Aliyah wide open for a layup. If that hadn't happened, they would have lost in the first round. And the Indiana Fever needed to be in that lottery. They did. The Indiana Fever needed to be in that lottery. And they needed to be in a position that top 3 to get Awa. They needed to. They needed to get Awa. Because if you guys don't know, there are no bigs in the 2027 draft. There are no bigs in there are bigs in 2028, but there are no bigs in 2027. In 2028, the Indiana Fever are not going to get in the lottery to get a good big. And the Indiana Fever don't recruit overseas. A year ago, we were all pushing for them to get Janelle Salon. They missed out on Janelle Salon. So they missed out on Janelle Salon. They missed out on Emma Chekova. They missed out on every overseas potential power forward to bring in. So they missed out on all their cheap players. They've missed out on Like, all of these players. And we are now at a stage where they can't even afford to pay Aliyah Boston her epic provision. And just to give Aliyah Boston an extension, and even if she takes a pay cut, by the way, like, I don't think people understand how much of a pay cut Aliyah Boston has to take to afford Kelsey Mitchell. So if Kelsey Mitchell wants to play for the Supermax, Aliyah Boston has to play on a rookie deal, on a repeat of a rookie deal. So you know why everyone was saying, you've got Kelsey Plum taking $1 million. Aliyah can go and take $1 million. If Aliyah signed a $1 million, which she's allowed to take via the epic provision, even just an increase in Caitlin Clark's rookie scale salary and an increase in Raven Johnson's rookie scale salary in comparison to the overall salary cap, which does increase more than the 5% expected increase in the salary cap, the odds of them being able to sign Kelsey Mitchell on the Supermax is 0. And that is if Aliyah Boston takes a long-term $500K minimum a year pay cut and Caitlin Clark stays on her rookie deal indefinitely. You're still struggling to afford Kelsey Mitchell. And everyone's like, why can the Liberty do it? Because I don't think people understand that Lexi Hull, as one bench player, costs more than 3 bench players for New York. Lexi Hull's salary is the same salary as 3 of New York's bench players. Or Phoebish and 2 bench players. The New York Liberty have 8 players potentially playing on minimum contracts, including Benijah Laney Hamilton, a former All-Star and former World Cup winner with Team USA, who was a starter when they won the championship. But because she's on a reserve deal, they can offer her a minimum and she has to play or retire. Which is why, if you look at the Sparks, how the Sparks are able to do it. The Sparks have 4 players that all have taken pay cuts. Because instead of playing on 1.2, they're all playing on $1 million. And by the way, 4 players playing on $1 million. So let's just say NECA, Hamby, Ariel Atkins, and Plum are all playing for $1 million. That's $4 million for 4 players. That's a lot. But it's $2.2 million for Kelsey Mitchell and it's $3 million for Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Monique Billings. And then the Indiana Fever obviously have more players on a higher rookie deal. And if you're the LA Sparks, you don't have that much money. So they've decided, you know what, fuck it. Ray Burrell, you're on a minimum. You're making a minimum. And now there's the Portland Fire, who you also have to feel like they might be in contention very soon because they look like they're pulling an OKC Thunder. They have $2.5 million in cap room, so they're able to absorb bad contracts. If a team is like, look, another one. So I've just seen to sign a minimum. Because she was a reserve free agent, Natasha Mack, who is a really good bench player. A really, really good bench player for the Phoenix Mercury has just signed a minimum. And if you look at the Phoenix Mercury, who they have as reserve free agents, the Phoenix Mercury just signed Valo Ayayi, who's one of the best forwards from overseas. The Phoenix Mercury, you see all those undrafted players that people are like, oh, they could make a roster. Maggie Dugan, Shea Chesky, Cara Dunn, Yarden Garzone. Yeah, the Mercury signed all of them. Not 1 or 2 of them. They signed all of them. Like Stokey, I'm guessing, is going to go to the Fever. But the Fever signed none of these undrafted players. Even the Wings signed Grace Sullivan. It is a really all-around interesting thing seeing what these good organizations are doing. If you look at the Atlanta Dream, who I do believe are a good organization as well, suddenly they got Sika Kone on the margins. So there's a lot of these good young power forwards that have been available that were on reserved contracts that you're able to consistently bring in on a minimum. And the Indiana Fever went out of their way to have none of them in their squad. And the problem is that is how you have to be good right now. Is you have to have a team good enough and you have to have a front office good enough that players are willing to take pay cuts. And then, on top of that, you have to have a front office that's willing to scout on the margins so that you can bring in... Basically, this is what the equivalent is. So, the gap between Lexi Hull and bringing in a max contract player for a team, the difference in that is replacing a decent contract bench player with a minimum player. If you are able to find, if you are able to find a rotational piece on a minimum contract, Every one of them you find is the difference between a role player and a max contract player. And the Indiana Fever are paying role players like they're stars. And it becomes really tough because they are losing Kelsey Mitchell next year. She's not going to be there. Like, even without, like, they are struggling to field this team without Aliyah Boston's max contract. They're struggling to field this team. Kelsey will not play for lower than a Supermax. I can tell you that for one. And if Kelsey and Sophie were, like, if Kelsey and Sophie got maxed up next year, like, I don't think people understand this. If they gave Kelsey even the regular max for 3 years, and they gave Sophie her bargain contract for 3 years, by the way, like, not even a bad contract, based on what they paid Lexi Hull, Aliyah would have to stay on her rookie deal next year to afford to stay under the cap. Like, not even, she would have to take a little bit of a haircut on a max. She would have to stay on her rookie deal if they want to keep Lexi and Sophie next season. Even with Sophie on a lower deal, even with Kelsey taking the regular max instead of the super max, they will have to give Aliyah, not even Aliyah would have to take a pay cut. She would have to play on their rookie deal to stay on the team. So yeah, this is the mistake of free agents past. This is the mistake of free agents drafts past. You look at a player, a really good rotational piece that is currently playing on a minimum due to the fact they're a reserve free agent. A player by the name of Emily Engstler. The Indiana Fever could have had her. They had her and they cut her. The Indiana Fever had her and deemed her surplus to requirements. And because Engstler would not have played her full 4 years of service, even if she was there, for other reasons, the Indiana Fever would have had Emily Engstler, a key rotational piece on a minimum, who can play the 4 and can be a stretch 4. Not only that, if you look at other drafts, the Indiana Fever have wasted draft picks, let them go, especially second round rookie picks. The Indiana Fever wasted their pick on Celeste Taylor. Like, I don't know what the story is with Celeste Taylor, but I feel like she could have developed into something, into a player that you're able to put on the floor. Like, there was a reason why the Mercury protected her last year and they really wanted her. I felt like they could have put her on the floor. Like the KK Timpson pick, it is what it is. But like, this is why you're in a bad scenario if you don't go out and get the Sika Kones of the world. This is why you're in a bad scenario if you don't recruit overseas. Like, you look at the Atlanta Dream, Isabel Borlase is coming over. They have Holly Winterburn signed. Kubai is coming back. The Indiana Fever have not had a European. The Indiana Fever, since 2021, since the Wubble season, the only Europeans that the Indiana Fever have employed. They had one Swedish girl in 2022 and Temi for a year. They do not live on the margins. They're not able to find these reserve contract players. They don't scout overseas. And unlike the Aces, they basically go out with the exact same tactic as the Aces go out with, but they don't have the benefit of winning 3 championships in the last 4 years. So vets aren't going to come and take pay cuts to win a championship with Indiana, a team who hasn't been to a final since Tamika Catchings was there. So yeah, Fever kind of fucked.